Okay, now let me get Rabbi Feldman back on with us. Rabbi Feldman, you just heard what Mr. Qassem had to say regarding the inability of even the Arab countries, specifically in the region, to come to the aid of the Palestinians the way they actually can. Right now, the only minor hope many people are clinging to is the UN Human Rights Council's decision to investigate the atrocities that are being committed in Gaza. However, how far do you think that's going to go? Because let's not forget the Goldstone report that was published after the Israeli war in Gaza, which ended in January 2009. There was so much pressure with regards to this report that Mr. Goldstone, who was carrying this investigation, was later forced to take back or retract some of the claims that he had made.
Yes, the Goldstone report was a sad experience. That in no way means that any step that will be taken in the future would fail as that one did. We strongly hope that people will face the facts and they will accept it, and they would understand that all of this has to stop. And let me tell you, this has to stop not only for the sake of these terribly suffering people in Gaza. This has to stop for the sake of humanity, of the Jewish people, of the people in the world, because this conflict we see today is no favor for none of us. This is no good for none of us, and this unfortunately is a destruction not only to Palestine, but to Jewish people as well, and to the world.
And Rabbi Feldman, also, when Israel claims that it will continue with its onslaught on the Gaza Strip, even expand it further, what do you think the goals are, per se, of this war? Is it really Hamas, or is there more to it? Some are saying it's land, some are saying it's genocide of the Palestinian population, which is entrenched within the Zionist ideology. How do you see it?
Well, exactly how far we can go with the claims, I'm not very sure. But basically, I really don't think it's Hamas. It's anything standing in their way. There is a political movement going here for their politics, and they will do whatever they can to stop anything in their way for any price. In other words, it has cost already an enormous price for the Israelis. Some will call them the Jewish people. That's a price that was not supposed to be paid for this nonsense political movement. We don't need this, and this happens to be very contrary to our teachings. According to Judaism, all of this is forbidden. All of this, we don't need this. According to Judaism, we are to live in peace with other people. We are to be loyal citizens in the countries where we reside. This is exactly how Jewish people did practice their lives for thousands of years until this anti-religious movement began. This was only started by about 100 years ago by non-religious people. This is not what Judaism is. Judaism is about peace, about loyalty to the countries. As I am an American citizen, I'm loyal to the United States of America, and I'm a religious Jew practicing my religion. The same was in Palestine. The Jewish people lived in Palestine prior to the 1920s in excellent peace. They were respected by the majority of Muslims, and they respected others. This is exactly how Jewish people are supposed to live. But unfortunately, when these Zionists are dropping their religion, they're taking up this new political movement of Zionism. Unfortunately, they're doing all what in their ability to forward this political movement on the account of all of us.
Indeed. Now, Mr. Qassem, as the world scrambles to hammer out a ceasefire agreement between Hamas and Israel, how far do you think that is going to go? Let's not forget the ceasefire agreement that was brokered by Egypt after the 8-day war on Gaza in 2012 resulted in Israeli bombardment of the Gaza Strip. Very frequently we saw airstrikes take place, we saw incursions take place almost on a near daily basis. So we do know that any ceasefire that may be hammered out will not necessarily be honored by Israel. So what do you think is the solution?
Well, those who are seeking ceasefire now are rotating They don't know what to do. And they don't want to talk and that decides the ceasefire. That is Gaza. They want to talk to themselves, to talk to Israel, and to talk to the United Nations, but they don't want to talk to Gaza. So they are stupid and funny. How could they hammer out a solution or a proposal without consulting with Gaza? Isn't that stupid? That's very naive. So what they are doing will doom to a failure. They will not achieve anything. It's only Gaza who decides. If Gaza becomes convinced that there should be a ceasefire, there will be a ceasefire. And Gaza is not going to yield for the Israeli destruction and mass killing. Gaza knows that the Israelis are doing this so as to exert so much pressure on the Palestinian resistance, so this resistance would accept the ceasefire. That the Israelis are feeling the pain now. They are totally confused. So we are not going to respond positively to the Israeli confusion. Let them stay confused together with the Americans. And if the Americans and the Egyptians are serious about a ceasefire, for the Americans, they should stop supplying Israel with war machines. And for the Egyptians, they should open the crossing, the Rafah crossing first. They should ease the siege on the Palestinians. Otherwise, all of these endeavors, all of these efforts will not produce them any benefit. And Israel will not be salvaged. It's only Gaza who decides. So if they want to hammer out a ceasefire, they should go to Gaza, to the Palestinian resistance leadership, and they have no other choice.
Okay, Rabbi Feldman, what about you? What you see is the solution to what we are seeing right now taking place in Gaza? A ceasefire will hold only for so long. Right now, as we're watching, let me just remind our viewers, we're getting those live images coming out of Gaza. It is continually being bombarded. You can see that fire raging there, plumes of smoke rising through the horizon. Now, Rabbi Feldman, back to the question at hand. Is there a long-term solution here? The leader of the Islamic Revolution of Iran has said that a referendum should be held. Bring back the Palestinians in diaspora, give them back their land, let them hold a referendum and decide what they want to do.
Makes excellent sense. This is exactly what we as Jewish people say all the time. This political movement has to stop. We have to return. We have to go back to what was the case in the very beginning. Before this political movement was around, we have to have the indigenous population of the land to choose whatever they like. We as Jewish people didn't have a problem to live amongst the majority of Muslims in Palestine. We don't have a problem to live the same way in the future. As according to us as Jewish people, it would make no difference whether the indigenous population will choose to have a democratic state or it will be a religious state, a Muslim state. That's no problem. We are convinced that the Muslim people, the Palestinian people, did not have any problem with Jewish people and will not have any problem with the Jewish people as long as this occupation would stop, as long as this oppression will stop, as long as this political movement will stop. We are very convinced that we have a beautiful, bright future. We have to overcome this obstacle of politics and put this aside.
And Mr. Qassem, I'd like to get your opinion on this, if I may. Do you think what do you think needs to change for the political opinion around the world to change and opt for a referendum, a long-term solution, one that gives the Palestinians back their rights?
Well, the only way for the Palestinians to get their own rights is to become strong. This world doesn't understand the language of justice and doesn't have a logic of the rights of a human being. This world only believes in strength, in power. If you are weak, you have no rights. Only when you become strong, you will gain the respect of others, and they will respect your rights. So the only solution that seems possible is for the Palestinians to gain more power, to manufacture more rockets, and to get stronger in the military field. In this way, the international community or the colonial powers that are supporting Israel will start to listen. Then they will start to understand the basic rights of the Palestinians. Otherwise, we are wasting our time. The negotiations have been going on for more than 20 years, and they produce nothing. The Palestinians have been conceding a lot. They conceded their basic national rights, but Israel and its allies in the Western countries have refused all of these concessions. They did not respond positively. Because they understand that Israel is strong enough and they don't need to go for peace. They can just quell the Palestinians at any time they want, or quell the Arabs. They have the upper hand. But now, the Palestinians have understood that this is the right logic and this is the right way to deal with these countries, Israel and its allies.
Okay, I'm going to have to stop you there. I'm afraid we've run out of time. That was Abdel Sattar Qassem with Al Najah National University joining us on the line from Nablus. Joining us from New York via Skype was Rabbi Dovid Feldman with the Neturei Karta International. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your comments here on Press TV with our special coverage of the ongoing onslaught on the Gaza Strip. We're going to take a short break now. We'll be back with the very latest coming out of Gaza as the death toll continues to rise and the bombs fall like rain.